guys, this is Technology Mafia, and today I am doing a three-way comparison between three portrait lenses for the Sony Alpha A6000. So the three lenses are the Sigma 60mm f2.8, my Pentax M Vintage f1.4 50mm lens with an adapter, and the Sony SEL 50 f1.8. So before we get into the comparison shots, let's take a look at what these lenses look like and how their autofocus systems work. -1. Alright, so here is my Sony Alpha A6000. Here is the kit lens. And the first lens that we are going to try out is the Sigma. So this is the Sigma 60mm, and did an unboxing on this lens just a few weeks ago, maybe a week ago. It's a nicely built lens. There's an element in there that makes some noise, but not a big deal, because once you put it on the A6000 and you turn it on, that sound disappears. So it matches the body of the A6000 quite nicely. It's 60mm, so it's zoomed in a little bit more than the other two lenses, but you can see the autofocus works fairly well. However, you can only really focus automatically with the center of the lens. If I tried to focus on the letters here in the corner, it won't let me do that. As well as if you have an object in the corner of the frame that you want to focus on, you're going to have to either manually focus or move it to the center and take the picture and then crop it later. So there is the Sigma 60mm f2.8. Next up is the Pentax M 50mm f1.4. Now this is a vintage lens that I purchased used, and you could see that it's built like a tank. I also dropped this lens and then had to straighten it out so that the focus ring still works. So that's why you can see there's quite a bit of damage there. Still works brilliantly though. I have this on a K&F concept adapter, PK to NEX, because the lens itself is that big and then the adapter is that big. But I keep these two together as one thing. You can see the let me see if I can open and close. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Wide open, f1.4. There you go. This is what it looks like. So it's obviously 50mm. There is no automatic focus with this lens, so you do have to focus manually. I'm going to try to focus through a screen. Now the cool thing about the A6000 is this. So you see the red? That is focus peaking, for those of you that don't know. So it just makes finding focus that much easier. So the things in the frame that are in focus turn red, or are outlined in red, so you know that is in focus. If I go over here and manually focus, you can see the pillow now is in focus. Now the f1.4 means that the depth of field on this lens is very, very shallow. In most cases you have maybe a few inches, so if you're focusing on, let's say, a person's face, it's very easy to focus on the nose and the eyes will not be in focus. But very cool lens, quite front heavy on the A6000, definitely the heaviest lens out of the three, but it's a very unique lens that requires you to know a bit more about what you are doing to use it properly. And last up, this is the Sony SEL 50 f1.8. This is the silver version, and this is the only native lens in this comparison. So let's attach it to the A6000. There it is. And when you turn it on, there you go. So this lens has optical steady shot, so it makes recording video a lot easier. It takes away some of the small shakiness with the camera. And because it is a native lens, you can focus this lens faster and better than any of the other lenses. So You can see just how quick it is at picking up focus. Just about as quick as the kit lens. And you have all of the autofocus points available all across the frame. So this one, like I said, is in silver. They have black. Very nice lens. And I unboxed this one recently if you want to go back and check out that video. So now let's go ahead and go into some images just so you could see what you can expect from each one of these three lenses. Okay, and I'm going to start with some video footage first. And in each of these pictures and videos, the lenses will be in the same order, so it will be easier for you to keep track. The first lens will be the Pentax M50 f1.4. The second lens will be the Sigma f2.8, and the last lens will be the Sony SEL50 f1.8. So let's start with the Pentax lens. This is just video footage of the other night outside. Now you have to focus that manually. The second lens, this is the Sigma. This one does have autofocus in video mode, however it's not as quick as the Sony. And the last video is the Sony with the fast autofocus. Now, these are 3 shots from each of the 3 lenses. I had the camera set up on a tripod, and so I just swapped the lenses and then took the same exact shot with the same exact settings on the camera. All of these photos from this point on are at maximum aperture. Just looking at these 3 images, you can see there's not much difference. You could see that the middle image is a little more cropped because it's at 60 millimeters versus 50 for the other 2 images. And immediately you can notice that the colors on the Pentax are not as rich as the colors in the other 2 images. Now let's take a closer look at the image here from the Pentax. You can see the bokeh in the background, very nice. Switching over to the Sigma, zoomed in, it's sharper at f2.8. You can expect it to have a little more sharpness. There is the Sony SEL50. It's very difficult to see the differences between these lenses. So let me crop this image even more for you. Now notice the bokeh in the corner behind that little fence. You see how the circles have kind of straight lines to them. Now moving on to the Sigma, you could see that the face is sharper, the hair sharper. However, look at the bokeh. It's a little more smooth. And then the last image here is the Sony. Has just a perfectly circular bokeh. You almost have the best of both, where you have the sharpness and the depth of color of the Sigma, but you also have that nice bokeh of the Pentax. Moving on, here is a picture of some bushes and a tree trunk. Now you could see the first image from the Pentax, just how shallow that depth of field is. I manually focused this lens obviously on just the very front part of the leaves, and you could see how creamy the rest of the image is. Very unique. You can do a lot of cool things with this lens. Second image, this is from the Sigma. You have less of a depth of field because it's at f2.8. That's as fast as it goes. So you get more of the subject in the front in focus and less creaminess in the back. And the last image is from the Sony. Kind of a compromise, kind of a middle between the two, where you have a lot of the nice bokeh, but you also have the sharpness up front. Next image. Now this is a tree branch with my wife standing in the background. So pay particular attention to the colors and the sharpness of the branch and then the bokeh in the back. This is the Pentax M. And I have to say this image is very nice from the Pentax. This was the first shot I took and it just came out really pretty spot on perfect. Next image from the Sigma is going to be zoomed in a little more. And you could see the colors are more vibrant. I don't know why, but the Sigma does have very nice colors. That's one thing that I've noticed in this comparison. And the last image is from the Sony. Again, it has some of the colors from the Sigma. However, it also has the smooth bokeh of the Pentax. Next image, this is a photo of my watch. Here is the Pentax image. I'm trying to focus on the very front of the watch in this image. So you can see the bokeh. You could see just looking at the wall here how shallow the depth of field is at f1.4. Next image from the Sigma at f2.8. Obviously you have more of the object in focus. I also have to say that this image in particular, pay close attention to the colors, are very vibrant, sharp, very creamy in the background. I like this image a lot. And moving on to the Sony, this is my pick out of the three because you have more of that shallow depth of field up front and you have more creaminess towards the back while you retain a lot of the colors of the Sigma lens as well. Next image, my wife again. This is at nighttime and you could see this is just a portrait with the Pentax M. I wanted to see how much more light the Pentax M could capture at night. And the differences are very subtle. This is the Sigma and you could see more of the skin tones coming in. It's cropped in a little more. Very nice. No real complaints with the Sigma. You do get a little less of the bokeh in the background, but overall it's a very nice lens. And the last image is from the Sony. And it's just, again, a mixture of both, almost a perfect middle between the two lenses. Alright guys, so what is the final verdict between these three lenses? If you're planning to shoot video, there's only one choice, and that is the Sony SEL50 f1.8. That is by far the best lens for video. It has optical steady shot, it's faster at focusing, much easier to use for video than either of the other two lenses. If you're looking for the most shallow depth of field, that is obviously the Pentax M f1.4. It's just a cool lens. It's only $50. You really can't go wrong if you pick up one of these. Just be prepared to manually focus all of your shots, which takes some getting used to. Even with focus peaking on the a6000, you don't always get perfect focus. The Sigma is a great lens for those of you who are looking for that little bit more of a reach, and the colors and the sharpness are spot on with this lens. I really don't have any complaints about it. I just think that in this comparison, it got beat out by two other faster lenses with better bokeh, and one of them in particular matches the color rendition of the Sigma lens. So, in my opinion, the best lens out of this group is the one that I'm using right now, which is the SEL50 f1.8. So that is the one that I would recommend if you are on the fence between all three of these. If you are looking for the perfect portrait lens for your crop sensor a6000 or a6300, look no further than the SEL50 f1.8. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions about any of the lenses that I reviewed in this video, please post them down below. If you've purchased one of these lenses or if you enjoy using one, post down. People always look through and read through comments and are looking for feedback, so they will definitely appreciate that. Stay tuned for future videos. I just purchased something that I'm very excited about. It's in the mail, so it's a surprise. I won't say anything about it, but I'm very excited about it. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Bye-bye.